Hello, my friends. How are you today? Look at us. Here we are, day 9. We are killing it, doing it. Yay! I'm actually very proud of this. I really wanted to record earlier, but one of my neighbors had decided to do construction and it was so loud. And like for a minute, I wanted to be frustrated, okay? It's because, you have this plan, you have this idea, and then something happens. And then I was just like, is this worth being frustrated over? Find something else to do, shift your plans around, flip-flop them, and it's okay. Like everything will be okay. So I ended up doing my run and I did some writing and I got a few other things done and it worked out great. So here we are, a little bit later than I had wanted, but we're still here and that's the most important thing. So last night I found myself being up kind of late. I was thinking about a lot of things. I was then like lost in researching some stuff that was of interest to me. I was ordering some groceries to be delivered for today of things that the kids wanted that we had ran out of. And, I figured if I'm ordering them online and they come get delivered here, that saves me a lot of time from having to go to this store. And when I'm in a store, I am notorious to just be like, oh, lights, oh, sale. Like, I love to wander. I don't necessarily buy everything, but like, I get so like sensory overload. They get me. Like, I went Christmas shopping with my oldest son and I was like, I need to pay you to come shopping with me all the time because I'm going to give you the difference of whatever I was going to spend or how much time I was going to waste in there. Because it was just like, he would say, she sees this sign and it says sale and her eyes light up and I start going this way and he'd have to like physically divert me like, nope, we're going this way. So it was quite comical and I appreciated him there to kind of keep me in check, and I really think was one of the fastest times I ever shopped. Him and I one time went to Costco and he was like, nope, no cart. You don't get a cart. And I'm like, no cart in Costco? Like, I don't think you're allowed to do that. He's like, nope, no cart. And he was just going in because he needed things. And some of the things that we ended up getting was only could fit in our hands. And we were in and out, but I just remember the cashier was like, wow, I think you guys won the award for the least amount of items that have come through today. And he goes, and I think I'm coming to your party. Like, I like this combo. So I'll keep what we got as a little secret. He knows and I know. But it was a good time, and he definitely forces me to have some self-control. So anyways, long story short, so yeah, like I was like, I don't want to go. I will have all these things I want to do today. I don't want to have to leave the house if I don't have to. And if I go to the store, it's like if you give a mouse a cookie, I'm going to have to get gas. And if I get gas, then I have to go to this store. And if I go to this store, I might need to go to that other, I just didn't want to deal with all that. I wanted to get the things I wanted done. So I ended up ordering some groceries online they had them for today. As they both now are not feeling well. And, but luckily we went to the doctor. I went to the doctors with the one of the two that's been sick the longest, and, it's nothing. It's just not that it's nothing, but it's, there's no COVID, no flu, no anything else going, no ear infection. So it's just one of the viruses going around, and it's just going to take some time to get over it. So that's it. All else was good. No ear infections, no strep throat, no, pneumonia or anything like that. So all those things that we worry about were not there. So just more time. And we are not very patient when it comes to sickness. Like every cough like triggers me. I'm like, are you taking your albuterol? Are you are you drinking? Like, and I know he doesn't want to be coughing either, so I try to be sympathetic, but I'm like, every cough, are you covering, even though you're in the room with an air purifier by the door? So I was up pretty late, and I'm still in this, like, I know it's already the middle of January, which is like freaking crazy to me, but like I'm still in this mode because my kids just supposedly were gonna go back to school. I think it was last week or the week before. I don't know. I'm so confused still. But they went back to school like later than usual. And then one was sick, so he never went back to school yet. So he still hasn't even been to school since he was in person, since he was a junior in high school. And he's supposed to go back, but he's been sick, and so he hasn't been there. And hopefully will make an appearance on Monday is what I'm hoping. We'll see. This kid, I don't even know. He's like, oh, I'm 18. I could just call myself out. I'm like, no, that's not how it works, son. But maybe it does. I don't know. I'm like, just finish it out. So anyways, so I intentionally, because I like have these grand plans, but like I'm not there yet. Like I do want to start waking up earlier. I do have all these other things I want to start implementing into my life, but I just need to do it slowly. I know for me personally, if I do too fast, too hard, too big of a change, it does not sustain for me. And then I feel like guilt and anger that I'm, frustration with myself or external situations. It's just not worth it. So I'm not there yet. But today I was like, my body is spent. Like last night, my body was like tired. It was sore. I felt a little mentally drained. I had a visitor come today. So it made all the sense in the world. But like, I was like, I just need to sleep. I just want to let my body rest. And it was like one of these rare opportunities where I didn't have to set an alarm. Like I didn't have a class or I didn't have to take somebody to school. So I was just like, I'm going to just let my body naturally wake up. And just like knowing that last night, it allowed me to stay up a little bit later than I would have wanted. And I just kind of like sunk into the bed when I finally turned off all the lights and plugged the phone in and turned off all the ringers. And I was like, yes, I am just going to sleep in as long as my body wants. And then I'm just going to rise out of bed and like an angel in a movie. And, I'm in the middle of a dream, and it was one of those rare nights that like, I did not wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I didn't like wake up to like shift around. So it was like, my body was like, it's on, Donkey Kong. We got you. I need to rest. So I'm in the middle of a dream and I hear just and slam, and my whole room shakes. And so of course now I'm startled out. My heart is racing. I'm frustrated. I'm quickly like analyzing like what is going on, what happened. And I hear garage close. And so it dawns on me, okay, Chris must have slammed the door as he left, so danger averted, but my heart is still beating as if, Mama Bear is ready to pounce. Like, what's going on? What's the crisis? What do I need to get? Which cape are we pulling out? And I laid there with my heart beating. And at first, like my default system, like I wanted to be pissed. I was like frustrated. I was like, here is one of the few chances of my life, so dramatic, my life, that I could finally sleep in, and it was ruined by somebody's inconsiderate actions. And I just laid there for a second. And as I was thinking, I said, whoa. Stop. So I think I talked about this. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But so I've recently started trying to integrate these cold showers into my life. And I hate it. Like, I don't hate anything really, but I dread it. It like gives me a little bit of anxiety. Like, oh God, like I'm the self-talk going on is like, why am I doing this? Why did you choose winter to start this? Like, it is cold already. Like all these, all the things. And the self-talk has gotten better. Like as I've continued in small doses, doing these, like, so I do it every morning. And I first started by like, moving it over just a little click, like from my nice comfort of my warm. Then I went a little bit colder, and then a little bit cold, the next day, and maybe I stayed there. Maybe then I ventured to a little bit colder, to where now it is pretty darn frigid. It is pretty darn freezing. And it's like that like it's like shocking, right? Like it's like my body does not want to be experiencing this, especially when I'm coming from like the hot, like in the morning. I'm like, oh, it's so warm. It's making my muscles all move. And, I'm really letting the heat hit the back and the hips and my SI joint. And, oh, my hamstring's a little sore. Let me do that. To then now shift from like this extreme warm that we're like, there's red on my body to like this freezing. Well, even when it wasn't freezing, just the cold was enough to like shock me out of my system. So in that moment, I was like, okay, right now, even though there's a different reason why you're feeling this right now, like right now, you are feeling the same way you're feeling in that shower, that shock, that rapid heart rate, that everything. And then what I'm practicing in the shower, why I don't know. I'm sure like I've just heard about people doing cold plunges. I don't have access to a cold plunge pool. I am not about to like, put on a robe and go out to the community pool or like that is too much effort for where I'm at in this journey. Like I do not enjoy it. So I need to make it the like path of least resistance. So, maybe we can debate on if a cold shower is enough. I don't really care. I'm doing it for myself. It is more than enough for me. And maybe at some point in my evolution, I will have such a pain threshold that it won't be. But for now, it absolutely 1000% is. So I don't care. It works for me. And this is the main factor. I know that I've, done some brief readings, or I've heard a lot of like my mentors or people that I listen to that are, doing this kind of education and motivation and spreading the information. I know that there are a lot of other health benefits as well, like with your metabolism, with longevity, just all those. That is all icing on the cake for me. Like it is not the motivation. What motivates me to do this practice is to learn how to self-regulate in these times of stress. So like even this morning, it was two unrelated things. I am not in a shower. I am in the warmth of my bed, but I'm feeling this same like fight or flight, this angst, this rapid heart rate, this, and what was my default? My default was like, I want to say, send a text and say, can you please be more considerate of, the way that you shut the door because you woke me up. Like, but truly, did it. Like if my body really needed the sleep, I would have slept through that too. So, I can't really blame anybody or anything for it. And if it was like a chronic thing, yeah, of course, that is a kind conversation you have, not when you're in a heated, emotional, flooded state. Like that is not productive. That is not healthy. So I laid there and I just I visually went to the shower. Like I just took myself and I said, this is the same thing. Like you just need to just breathe in and breathe out. Like you're okay. Like just self-regulate this emotion. And it just took me out of that headspace. I was no longer frustrated. It was like seconds of like wanting to go into that default system. And now like by use of training myself every day in the shower, and it's only been, I think maybe a month, maybe, I don't know, but I think it was a little bit before Christmas. So I'm going to say about a month, maybe. But by doing that, even in some days I forgot. And actually I think one day I was like, I am way too cold to do this today. Like I can't take the torture today, but most of the time, or there was times like I got out of the shower and I was like, darn it, I forgot, because it wasn't a part of my default process anymore. It wasn't a non-negotiable. It wasn't making my bed. It wasn't, these things that like my 10,000 steps or 20,000 steps, whatever, my non-negotiables have now become. So, it's a practice, which means I'm going to really excel some days and I'm going to flounder some days. And then if I do flounder, okay, what do I do? Like when I'm out of the shower, I was like, I could get back in, but I'm already tired and I'm in a time crunch. Like, so it was kind of like, what can I do to like cue myself? Should I put a Post-it note? Should I, what can I do to kind of prime this environment so that I remember, until remembering is just natural. You know, it's just like tying your shoes. You just know what to do. You don't have to think about it anymore. So I found that so beneficial to me. Like, it was like a win. Like, it was like every single shower up until today was worth it because I was able to self-regulate in this like non-related experience. And like, I feel like that was just so healthy and helpful for me. And it was also probably very healthy and helpful for the relationship. I didn't then go inflict, because I was frustrated and in pain, or, you know, I wasn't really in pain, but I was like in emotional pain. I wanted to sleep. And I didn't go inflict any kind of harm on somebody else that may jeopardize their, like, so, you know, like, it was fine. Like, I don't know. It gave me so much peace. And then I started really thinking about these showers and the impact that they're having on my life. And I don't enjoy them. And I kind of hope, a piece of me hopes I don't ever enjoy them, because like every day I do participate in it, like I am just building up this like higher tolerance for pain, right? Like I'm able to tolerate it, and in the tolerating it, I'm able to regulate and say it's okay. Like I know that I can physically be in pain, but I can still work through it, and I can still like find like really beautiful things even though I'm in a painful place that I don't want to be. Like, and so I feel like it just sets up the environment for me personally, that when stuff happens, right, that is out of our control, because I'm controlling this. I am choosing to hop into this cold shower. I am choosing to stay there. I am choosing to like make it run down my spine, you know, like I am choosing to let it go over my head, whatever I am choosing to do, turn around. And you think like, oh, okay, my back has already felt it, like now you'd go to the front, and it's just as startling, you know, it doesn't like get, you know, it's not like you're like, oh, okay, this feels great now. No, but like I have noticed that I'm able to like more calmly, you know, like the gasping has like slowed down. It's like I already started to breathe calmer anticipating it. And I feel like that is so empowering and helpful, like in my day-to-day, because I mean, as you will hear, and as you've already heard, I have been through some traumatic experiences. I've been through crisis. I know that in any given moment, life can present the craziest of scenarios. And, you know, I've always been in this like reactive mode, and I do really well. Like I can handle the stress really well in the moment. However, there is a long-term effect on my body of of just being in that kind of panicked, shallow breathing, reactionary mode instead of like calmly thinking. And most times I've developed, you know, like like almost like probably maybe like a trauma surgeon or you know, somebody who deals with trauma, or on a war field or whatever it is. Like I've learned and adapted to be able to respond really well in those kind of situations. But I think to myself that if I could calm down, if I could regulate, that if my breathing was more intentional, that there would be more oxygen going to my brain, that I could even think better. I could even react better. And so I think that that's the thing, is like, you know, for me on this part of my journey, it's really about optimizing. It's about understanding that things in my life and my reactions have worked and got me to here. And they've taught me a ton of lessons. And some of the lessons I just didn't want to learn, or I haven't learned. And so going back and reflecting and putting myself intentionally in uncomfortable situations, when you're reliving or investigating things that have happened in your past. And it could have been as past as last week, but like, even if you go deeper into some of the things, it's not like it's fun per se, right? But if you come at it with the perspective that these things happened to teach you something, to guide you, to, you know, elevate you, like you can kind of pull yourself out of the situation, just like I pull myself out of the shower. Like I'm not just standing there being in my physical body in a way. I've now kind of like moved into like my mental and spirituality and you know, the perseverance. And I get this like empowerment to know like you are strong, like you are gritty, you are like a perseverance person. I don't know what you know, what do you call that? But like you are able to do this. And like each day it just makes me stronger, and it makes it like just quiet something. So I am so like excited by the results of this, because I had no, it's kind of just like my things. Like I will hear of something and I'll throw it around in my brain. I'll put it in Google for a minute or two. And then I kind of think, well, do I want to try this or not? So it could be anything like, you know, with my steps, with my intermittent fasting. Like I don't do a whole lot of like scientific data. I'm just like, okay, at some point I'm like, let's just try it. And like, let's try it in a very micro dose. Like, and I think like part of that comes from like, even just like my experience with like, one of my sons has, a life-threatening peanut allergy. And so when he was young, it was like extremely reactive. He would be in a classroom and have outbreaks. And it was like, I know people would be like, oh, it's so dramatic, you know, like but if somebody had a peanut butter sandwich in their lunchbox in the classroom, he would have reactions. And, you know, you feel like an idiot because you're like, this is so dramatic. Like, this is so over the top. This is so extreme, you know, and you ask the teacher kindly, can we please leave the lunches outside? And she was like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. Like, I'm like, can we just try it? I'm not sure, but it's only happening in that class. It's only happening can we just try this? She does it. No more allergies. And bless that teacher's heart, poor thing. Her and her mom had passed away, like in a very crazy car accident, like flew off, like in a parking lot into the ocean. Like, I just don't know what happened, but like, bless your heart, Miss Correa. Like, you were just amazing woman and teacher, and you were very supportive of Tyler. And I really appreciate that because he was only in first grade. And so, you know, it's a really tricky time to learn like self-advocacy and, you know, so I appreciate like you dealing with this crazy. And by then I was the mom of 4 who've been through things. So I wasn't like shy to say things. I was like, no, this isn't working, you know? So, and she was kind enough to like humor me. And, I loved volunteering in her class, and I loved her enthusiasm with the students. So I think about her often, and you know, what a loss it is that she isn't still, you know, spreading her joy through teaching. And she loved Disney, and she really loved her students. So thinking of you, Miss Correa, I appreciate everything you did for my son and all the other students. But anyway, so he had the allergy, or still has the allergy. But, you know, I'm there, don't take no for an answer. There's got to be something. And so I spent countless hours. Then I really did do some research, because this was in regards to my child, right? Countless hours of research on allergies and treatments and what we can do. And you know, horror stories about, you know, kids passing away from kissing someone. I'm like, oh my God, what if he wants to make out with somebody? He's gonna be like, oh, did you eat a peanut butter sandwich in the last 24 hours? You know, I was like, oh my God, this is a nightmare, you know? And I know this isn't like something you should be worrying about when they're young, but like, I knew that someday that this would come. And then I found this research they started to do. And there was a lovely doctor, Dr. Nadeau, who was doing these pioneering, treatments. And, you know, she was testing theories, and she had grown up on a boat and had a lot of asthma herself, and just, you know, like everything about her work like resonated with me. So I immediately signed my son up, and I think I started signing him up when he was about 6, but the trials I think all began when you were 8. So right before he turned 8, I get a call, and they said, you know, he's going to be turning 8 soon. We have 2 trials coming up, and we'd love to screen him for him. Because I was just that person that was like, not only did I submit it, I would send an email every once. Like, I just was like, I'm going to be that squeaky wheel. Like, this was my carrot dangling at the end of the road. Like, this was my answer to everything. And at this time, it was called oral immunization therapy. It was very new. very like heard of, it was just kind of like, on the outskirts. And then another like method that they were trying was a like a patch that you could wear. And so, long story short, he turns 8. He goes in, he does the screenings. He's got no front teeth, just this little kid, and at first he was scared. And then, he came up with this like thing, and he was like, Mom, it's like I get to be a hero. Like, I'm somebody's hero. If I do this, that means kids in the future, they will have more hope, and they won't have to sit at the peanut-free table alone, and they won't have to like be sick when somebody brings a sandwich in the class or eats it and then sits by you, like, and it just would bring tears to, like, I would be bawling. I was like, this little kid, like, stop it. Why are you so awesome? Like, I love your mentality. So he's like, even when I don't want to do it, I just think I'm helping somebody else down the road, and it gives me the courage. So long story short, the trials were, it was funny. He had to read these like 20-page documents with like words I couldn't even pronounce, with his little missing front teeth. And it was, because he had to consent to do these things. So he was in the testing phases, and he reacts, he's throwing up, he's got all the things, EpiPenning, all these things. And, the next day they do it again, and now you have one day, you don't know which is which, but because they react, right? But he literally could not take the taste of this stuff that he literally threw up. Like, it wasn't because he was feeling sick, or he was like, I just cannot take the taste. And if you throw up, they don't know if you react, even though we all knew he wasn't reacting. It was very different than the day before. But you just, you can't, because it was like now not a, proper whatever for the whatever. So they said, don't worry, come back. We've got another one in a couple weeks, and maybe he'll qualify. And I was crushed. Like, I remember sitting in the car and just crying, because here it was, we had this, I had worked so hard to find this. I had been so persistent, and this little boy could not, because it was like it tasted almost, because they wanted it to taste like a peanut, so you didn't have any psychological things. So it was like a peanut flavored coffee that this little kid, who has this aversion to peanuts anyways, who knew that they just got it like brutally sick the day before, there's that whole thing, and he just could not take it. So we go back, we go do the whole thing. Now it's a whole different trial. So now you're going through, and you're having to read all these papers, and, do all these things again. And same thing happens. He had the reaction like he was supposed to. Then we come back the next day, and the very, very, very last dose, he just couldn't keep it in anymore. He was just like, I can't. And then I really lost it. Like, I needed to get out of the room for a moment, and I was like, I'll be right back. And I just went in the hall, and I was on my knees, because it was like, here was all this hope. He had built up so much courage to do this. He had, you had to go through a lot of blood tests. Like, you had to put yourself through, you were basically a lab rat, right? Like, you were willing to take this chance to not only help people, but it would also help him too, like there was something. So it was just like, in that second, all hope was lost. Like, I just lost it. And I was like, I didn't understand in that moment, like, why God, why anybody would you even present this information, make this information available for me, go through all the trouble. I mean, it happens to be at Stanford, which is literally, in the Bay Area where we live, and I could go to it. Like, of any place in this world where the studies are, like, everything was lining up. Like, why is this happening? And again, I remember driving home, it was raining, and crying, and this song came on the radio, and it was just word for word, like everything I was feeling. And I was like, you need to hold it together and get him home. And I just like remember looking back in the rearview mirror and you see just this little kid and he was like in his car seat and he was just so like defeated himself. And even though he didn't know, he knew. And thank God, like I build the relationships that I do and he did as well. You know, I'm always so kind to everybody, especially in the medical like places, like from everybody, from the custodians to, you know, the people because I am so grateful and I understand that all the beautiful ways that my kids have been saved through heart surgeries, brain surgeries, hernia surgeries, like I understand it is far more than just the surgeon or the doctors or the nurses. Like there are people doing authorizations behind the scene. Like there's people keeping the environment clean and sterile. Like there's so many people and so much effort that goes into every patient. Like I am so grateful. And so I'm always very kind. I'm very talkative, as you can tell. You know, I'm always like asking questions. And the next day I got a call and I was like so down and depressed, and I got a call and it was from the nurse and she was like, so I talked to Dr. Nadeau and, you know, I told her about what happened and we can't leave you guys like this. Like you guys have been through too much. You guys have tried too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to treat Tyler off label. And I'm telling you, I didn't know what the hell that meant. But from her excitement, I just knew it was great. So she's like, can you go down on Friday? Let's just say it was at 3:00. I said, I'll be anywhere, anytime, anyway. And so we go down and now we are with the queen bee herself. It is like meeting a rock star. I am giddy. I am like, oh my gosh, I know all her stories. I know her studies. Like I am meeting this amazing doctor who is saving lives and pioneering this new treatment for kids that like where there was no treatment. And it was just so crazy. And that moment, like it all made sense. Like all those really difficult times needed to happen to get me here. And this was the best option. I didn't have to go take him out of school a couple times a week. I didn't have to go all the way to Palo Alto to do an up dose and then have him sit there for 2 to 4 to 6 to whatever, how many hours to have him observe. Like, no, we didn't do any of that. I had the best like nurse assisting us and I had the best doctor giving us the protocols and we were just doing it at home. And which I know in part of it is probably kind of kooky and crazy, but I felt really safe knowing I had the best of the best behind me and supporting Tyler. So, I mean, I remember, we would like have to get like a peanut and then like literally had a scale. And like, you're talking like microscopic amounts of a peanut on there and it's weighed out. And you have a kid who doesn't like peanuts. And the smell of it literally makes his body go like repulsed. And so we're having to like, I would like melt chocolate and then freeze it. I tried cooking it. We tried putting it in like salsa, like, so many different methods. He didn't like the peanut M&Ms anymore after the experience. Like, we tried it all. We tried Reese's Pieces, like, just everything we could to get it in. He doesn't like the peanut butters. But he had liked for like a brief period Wow Butter. So like we chopped it up and put it like in the Wow Butter where it was like a, measured thing. He's been through it all. Like, he did Nutter Butters, like throughout his thing. But anyways, it was like these microdosing, micro, and then slowly increased up to build the tolerance. And I think that gave me like witnessing that experience and watching it and seeing its success, because he is now almost 16. So basically 50% of his life, he has now been on this treatment, and it does not take away. He is still allergic to peanuts. He still should be carrying around his EpiPen. He has still had, reactions out of nowhere, for no associated reasons. He still does have to follow certain protocols, like he can't eat it when he, after he's flown, or, there's rules, I'm just going to say them, like, or, after a hot bath and, after rigorous exercise, like there has to be resting periods and things like that. So there are still a lot of like rules and regulations that he has to follow. But I mean, we have peanut butter in our house again, like, he's used utensils that have had it, like, for the most part, there is no issues. On the average day, like I say, there's outlier times that like are the perfect storms. Could be like, I always associate it to like, maybe he's going through a growth spurt, there's hormones. He is an athlete, so he's a very active. He loves his hot baths. Maybe he took a hot bath like 3 hours ago, but it still wasn't enough to like bring down his body's temperature. So yeah, there's always these kind of situations that are going on. But I think like witnessing that like really taught me the value of like starting slow and building tolerance with anything you do in order to see continued success. And there will be days, like I say, where that success doesn't seem like it's paying off, right? Like it's like, okay, we're at this like tiny amount, and then is it ever going to increase? But as it increases, your body, like it takes a moment to like adjust. So like sometimes in the beginning, he would have like some GI problems, or nasal, or allergies. Like, so we like, you really have to kind of shift and adapt and kind of reanalyze what your environment looks like today. How it looked yesterday may be different. His body was a smaller weight, his body is bigger now. And, so you kind of have to shift and play around with what is going on now, but you have this tolerance that you've built. And I think that's with everything, and by starting in any kind of microdose, so a microdose of a cold shower where it's, probably more called lukewarm than cold. And then, getting to the cold, you don't have to. And I think that's the problem. I know, like, I do this too. Like sometimes, or I used to, especially, like I used to think it was all or nothing. Like, if I'm going to work out, I got to start on Monday, and we're going to, overdo it. We're going to work out for 2 hours, and we're going to do legs, and we're going to do arms, and we're going to dance, and we're going to do push-ups. And then the next day you feel like crap. Like you feel like garbage, like, or you want to stop drinking caffeine, and now you try to do it abruptly, and you have headaches, and you're feeling like irritated and on edge. It's like, no, okay, just if you're drinking 6 sodas a day, knock it down to 4.5 or 5 or 5.5. Like, go slow. Like, I feel like and here I'm just saying, put your body in shock, but there's like a difference between, choosing to put your body in shock and knowing for a few moments versus like this extreme. And I feel like when we're constantly like beating ourselves up and doing things to the extreme so hard, so fast, and it's like, if that's really your goal, is to drink no caffeine from 6, you'll get there. Just have some patience, have some time, and create a sustainable life choice. And that's what I think it all is like just finding new things, hearing new things. And I think this is like what excites me so much too, is like, I get so lost in listening to other people's perspectives on the world, or, whatever they're passionate about, whether it be relationships or, anything, and I think it's just so fascinating to hear. And I feel like there's so many lessons in their expertise that can be applied universally. It's not just applied in that realm, it's applied everywhere. So, I say like, or for me, and I suggest anybody to do this, because I've just seen with my own eyes the like response that you get. Just microdose everything. Like, make small choices, make small changes, and do one thing at a time. We don't have to like, because we want a healthier lifestyle, start restricting food and exercising and this, like, it's too much. And we get frustrated, we get upset, then the people around us are upset because we're upset and we're upsetting them, like, so just try to make these choices, have these experiences, and know that even if you're trying and everything is lining up and it doesn't work out, just like it didn't work out those first 2 times with Tyler, and it's devastating. Like, you just don't know, why is this happening? And it's like, you can't get lost in the why. It's just, you have to have faith that this is the best thing. And it was the best thing. Like, I didn't see this door because I was so focused on this information that all I knew. I didn't know this other door existed. I didn't know this other opportunity would present itself. And still, like, I just recently, you know, she's no longer here. I think she went to, so Dylan's brain surgery went to Duke, and I want to say she might have went to Harvard. I'm pretty sure. I think so. So she's no longer here, Dr. Nadeau, but in the Bay Area. But the new doctor that he does see was like, still remembered him. Like, he is like a rock star there. So like, it wasn't a different way, and the protocols that were utilized on Tyler were also utilized on other kids. And now it's kind of like a more mainstream, like there's, you know, OIT clinics that you can go in private practice and things like that. So it's definitely become a more viable option. People do multiple nuts and eggs and milk and all kinds of things. So kudos to all of them, and kudos to the people who had these ideas and the families that were brave enough to be like, yep, we'll be a guinea pig. You know, we want to be part of this hope and change and make somebody else's life better. So kudos to all that. And so, like I say, like, 2 things. Number 1, change your life. Like, if there's something you want to change, do it small. You know, like I say, my gratitude jar, I was trying to do gratitude for a while in my phone, and I would be hit or miss. Haven't missed a day on that. So it's like, find what works for you. It's like, if you know what you want to do, you know, and prime them. I have my Post-its, I've got my jar, and I've got my pen next to it. It's easy, it's visible, it's vibrant colored. I see it, I do it. Until it becomes a habit. And then I don't need maybe the fancy tricks, you know. The cold showers for me, again, it's another new thing I'm trying to make a non-negotiable. And when I have a situation like today, it just reinforces like the value in this, and it reinforces how strong I am, how brave I am, and just how damn gritty I am. Like, you know, it's a stupid thing, but every single day I get to put myself in a situation I don't like, and I get to find a way out of it. And the way out of it is through myself. It's through breathing. And so I believe you guys can do that. Like, I believe you can change your life. You can change how you react. Like, isn't that huge? Like, you know, when somebody cuts you off and almost hits you, and you have your kids in the car. I mean, at least me, I've talked about my issues in the car. Patience is power. Patience is power. But yeah, like you know, you get that same thing. You get that shock. You get the jartled. Definitely, you're getting jartled. I don't even know what word I'm going for there, but startled, that one. Okay. And then your heart is racing, you know, your anxiety's through the roof. You feel it on edge. And, you know, you react, you honk, you know, you yell, whatever you do, how, you know, whatever part of the country you're from, or whatever your personality is like, or how big your vehicle is. I don't know how, you know, whoever the assailant was, you know, maybe determines on how you behave. But you know, you're like, come on, you know, like, but I feel like having this experience on a daily basis, it's just practicing, because a lot of times we don't have practice when life gets in the way, when there's like unexpected situations, and we just react. So I feel like this just gives me the power of proactivity, and that gives me the ability to react the way I want to react. And so with that, I think I am done for the day, but I am having so much fun with this. I really can't wait to see where it goes. I like literally start thinking, like, am I making these videos too long? What am I doing? Like, how do I get it from the phone to the internet? Like, and that will all come. But I think the important part again is that I'm actually doing them. And then as they adapt and change along the way, I think all those answers will come clear, and it'll, you know, be like a little evolution. So I love that you're along with me on this journey. If you have any advice, if you have any suggestions, please hit me up. Like, I love it if you like have questions, or if like you want to like chat with me. Like, I am open to anything. I'm not saying like I will do everything, but like I am open, and I like love to hear different people's input on things. And I just want to say, like, just focusing on like not what the result is, but like focus on the fact that like this is what I love right now. Like, I am loving doing this. And so I think that's the most important thing, is like not to worry about who sees it, what sees it, and what's going to happen. It's just you and I hanging out, chitting, chatting, and that's it. So I hope you guys have a great evening or day or morning and all of it. And I can't wait to chat with you tomorrow. So bye.